Hi and welcome to our CSA Digital Email Summit, and our session for today is how to use BIMI as a brand from the idea to go live. My name is Maike and I'm responsible for the marketing at the Certified Senders Alliance. I want to give you a brief overview of the Certified Senders Alliance. Maybe you don't know us. We have been in the market now over 15 years and we're working together with mailbox providers and technology partners. We have more than 100 certified senders. Our goal is to increase the quality of commercial emailing. We don't do this alone, we do this in cooperation with our partners. We want to bring the different parties in the email marketing together so that we have the CSA Email Summit since 6 years now. Of course, this year only digital. I know we have a lot of participants who joined the last webinars, but the housekeeping rules for today. Please note that you're muted during the whole webinar. So if you have any questions, you can submit them to the organizer. It's me today. I will collect all the questions and read them out loud at the end of the session. As I mentioned before, the session for today is how to use BIMI as a brand. And our speaker for today is Romina. She's a marketing manager at the Witt Gruppe, as well as Peter. He is the email marketing department chef. So we feel a lot of fun, a lot of new knowledge, and you will hear me at the end of the session again when I read the questions out loud. So I'm glad I can hand over to Peter now, and yeah, see you soon.
So before we start, just a little introduction. Today we want to show you a little bit about how we as a brand in the Witt Group got to know BIMI, how we managed to convince our stakeholders in the house to join the, let's say, BIMI project, what were the complications, the problems, the issues, and yeah, the complete story from how we get to know, why did we implement it, and yeah, what our next steps on this BIMI project are to, let's say, yeah, so that we know which road we need to follow on this BIMI, let's say, rollout to complete our complete project. First of all, before I start, just a little information beforehand. It could look like that we are ignoring some COVID rules. We are not, because we are next to each other. But as you can see here, it's a solid wall between us. So we are next to each other without being next to each other. And so before we start into the topic itself, let's start to introduce ourselves. So I hand over to Romina first.
Hello, everyone. My name is Romina. I'm working in Peter's team since 3 years now. I'm an email marketing manager. So most of the time I do email marketing things like creating campaigns, sending these campaigns, analyze, and so on. But there's another big part in my daily business, and that's deliverability and email security. And that's very untypical for me because I'm usually very creative. I'm not that technical. And 2 years ago, I can't imagine that this would be so present in my work life, and I'll be such a security fan. And yes, one day Peter asked his team, all my colleagues and me, who wants to do this security stuff? And we are all marketing people. And as you can imagine, everybody said, oh, great idea, but not with me. And that was my chance. So this topic was very strange for me. I really didn't know nothing. And Peter showed me a lot, he learned me a lot. And our first project we did together was the implementation of BIMI. That's the reason why I'm here today.
Yeah, and just to say about me, I'm Peter. I'm the head of email marketing department here at Witt Group now for almost 5 years. In the email marketing business, I'm all around about 9 years. I started my career in the customer care service of Experian, so the basic call center stuff like resetting passwords and starting campaigns and such stuff. And during my whole career, I recognized that the deliverability topic and all the security and all the stuff about this topic is it's my USP. It's what I'm focused on and what my special skill is for to call it this way. And yeah, when I joined the brand side, before joining the brand side, I was on agency side. Now I'm on brand side, and I can take a look at this topic now from a completely different perspective. And Now, before we start into getting into the detailed stuff, it's time to show you a little bit where we are working, so that you know what we are at the brand are, or what our brand USPs are. So wrong key.
Right.
There we are.
So that's my part again. We are working for the Witt Gruppe. We are a multi-channel company and a member of the Otto Group. We're selling fashion for women. We have 10 brands in 10 different countries, and altogether about 18 online shops. They are all managed here in Weiden, a little town in Bavaria in Germany. Yes, and we're very international. We have a main market in Germany, of course, but we also have a lot of European countries and also in the USA, for example. Our brands are focusing on different target groups. We have a segment with a very low price. We have a very high price segment, also a segment which is focusing on the quality. And these brands, they have all one thing together. Peter, you can switch. And that's the women with an age of 50 and more. Some brands are much older, about 18, about 17, but most of them are 50 and older. And we want to encourage these women in their affirmation of life. We want to give them more self-confidence. We simply want them to have their best time of their lives. They should not care about the gray hair and the gray hair or the lines in their face. They just should feel pretty in our clothes the best way. And yes, I hope you agree, these women are fantastic, but they sometimes are a little bit careless when it comes to emails and the dangerous internet activity out there. They can't really make a difference between a phishing mail or a good mail. And if you showed your grandmother or your mother some technical thing, I think you know what I mean. It's hard to teach them how they can protect themselves. So we searched for a way how we can protect our customers the best way. And before I gave the word to Peter now, I want to mention that with BIMI and the required DMARC settings, you can also protect your employees from phishing, because it can be implemented on your company domains, of course, not just on your online shops or on your newsletter domains, also on your company domains. And we have all these employees in our companies who are likely to click any dangerous links. And the best way to protect them is that they don't get these links. Yeah, so have that in your mind, that's also very important.
Yeah, and basically when everybody's listening now and says, hey, protect against phishing, hey, protecting customers and protecting employees and so on, but to get to that way and to achieving that target, it's a really, really long way. And the long way we started with BIMI, or when we first got to know BIMI, it was as a CSA summit. It was like 4 or 5 years ago, roundabout, and it was yeah, the first impression of BIMI I personally received by the magical Terry Link. I don't know who of the crowd listening ever has seen Terry on the stage and presenting his Terry style, I would call it. It was just magnificent. It was great, and it was very inspiring. And what caught me, and what he was explaining, what sounded very special to me back then, was that it was a collaboration of Google, Microsoft, Yahoo, and many more were starting this BIMI project together. Companies which you normally think are working against each other, which are usually challenging each other. And he was talking about something like the BIMI project, where all these companies, which are usually challenging each other, are teaming up with just one idea, with just one target, was just reduce spamming and improve branding in one and the same move. So it was very impressive. And when I sat in his presentation, I just said, hey, I want to do it, I want to make it, I want to support it. It just sounds great. And for me and for the BIMI target, it was just, hey, it sounded so easy. It sounded like it does not cost thousands of euros. It doesn't cost hours and days and years of working. It's basically BIMI is basically let's say it's like a goodie if you do your housekeeping, if you take care of your SPF, your DKIM, your DMARC setting, if you can configure it properly, if you take your time and sort out your domain responsibility. So you should do all the stuff you should you should do anyway. So BIMI is like a cherry on a cake. If you do your homework, then you can have this branding on top, and that's what impressed me and what I said, hey, because back then I was on agency side, and the first thing I said was, hey, I want to convince my clients to use it. Well, I wanted, I tried, I contacted my clients, but well, the feedback was always the same. No one was interested because, yeah, it's simply not a sexy topic to talk about SPF, DKIM, DMARC, domain settings, and so stuff, because, yeah, the usual question is how many revenue do I get through it? And yeah, and that was the main question. You cannot answer with, okay, if you install BIMI, you get XK more than revenue. That's not the case. It's housekeeping, and it's it's a mandatory thing we all should long for to protect our employees and customers from phishing. And the branding is a bonus on top, but a great bonus. So when I joined the brand side as a head of email marketing, for me it was very clear that, hey, okay, now I'm in the driver's seat, and now we can try to push this standard. We can implement it on our side, on our brand side. And well, then I got back to reality, and that was the first thing I had to learn is if you try it alone, you will fail. So if you are in the email marketing department and you say, hey, I want to implement BIMI, let's configure something, and hey, we will be live in a week or something like this, you will fail. You cannot start on your own. It's not an email marketing topic. I wish it would be. I wish it would be this easy, but it's not. If you do it alone, simply you will fail. You need some persons which are listed here. You need an IT security officer. That's the person usually you should bring on board very, very soon, because that is the guy that if you say, hey, I want to make our company safer, he's the first to say, okay, I'm with you. So that's very important to put him on board. Same domain administrator. It's very important to put these guys into the team and say, hey, we need your help. Well, if they are not interested in this topic and they do not support you, or they say, hey, it's not important, or I have a lot of different other tickets to do, you will fail. You need them. You need somebody to push the button, somebody to amend the domain settings. You really, really need them to have, let's say, an operational success in rolling out BIMI and stuff. And of course, if you are implementing something and if you need resources and stuff, what's very important is that the CEO is on your team. So that's very important, because you might need a tool. You might need resources in the IT department or in the IT security officer. You might even need time to train persons in the email marketing team. So when I, for example, had some trainings with Romina, and we trained and we learned and we made practices and so stuff, that takes time. You can't do it if not the complete management or CEO said, okay, that's an important project and we will go that way. And the last team member you need is your ESP, because your ESP, it's very important that there are guys on the other end that support you, that know what you're doing. Then if you say, hey, I want to implement BIMI, please help you, they are not asking you, you want to implement what? What is BIMI and where does she live? No, it's very important that you have an ESP who knows what you're talking about, who knows why deliverability is such an important topic, and they assist you with all the housekeeping. They assist you for also amending some entries, assist you with monitoring, and they even assist you with contacting ISPs, because there will be some settings, some errors, some kind of, and even if you're at the moment where all is configured correctly, it could be that that there are some other issues where you need help of your ESP. For us personally, we had one, let's say, it's like a key moment, how we made the complete, let's say, how we managed to convince our complete company and our CEO, even though, and that's, yeah, it was phishing. So when we started, and it was very hard to, let's say, show how important the impact is of such a project to, let's say, arrange new all domains and housekeeping and the whole domain setup, registry, admins, you need all this type of persons. We said, hey, man, the most important key to success is to show how dangerous it is to not do anything. And what we did is we spoofed our CEO live. So we had a BIMI presentation with a post box on the screen. We put some, let's say, pushed some darker buttons in some darker websites, and hey, we spoofed the CEO live and in color on the beamer, and then he saw how important this is. And then it took only seconds to get the priority on this topic, and we managed to get all the resources and all the approval to implement and follow up for this topic. So it is a, let's say, not very usual kind of action, but it helped. It helped to get priority on this topic, because you know you need all the persons I just mentioned. And a very important thing is that you take your time. You have a cross-functional team. You have a domain admin. You have email marketing. All the persons I mentioned before, and to get everyone on board for the same target, the same processes, and to start the whole cleanup process for setting up DMARC, BIMI, and DKIM, SPFs, and all this stuff, you need to make a plan. You need your time. You need sometimes even if you have company, you have not 1, 2, 3, or 4 domains. You have hundreds of domains, and every domain takes time to configure. That's very important, that you don't hurry, so that you take the time you need. And it's also very important that you clarify responsibilities in this process. So who is the one who is amending the settings, who is the one who is monitoring, and who is the one who maybe needs to approve some budget if you need a monitoring tool or something like this. And that is a very important hint we can give you, is get a monitoring tool. Yes, you can try it on your own. Yes, you can be brave and say, hey, I have all the 350 domains all in my domain admin overview tool. That's a fine idea, but I promise you, you will fail. Later, when your house is cleaned up and you get maybe into a process where all is cleaned up and all is set up and all the SPFs, records, and so stuff is well done, maybe you can skip this process. But once you start the cleanup, you need a tool. If not, well, you will fail. Sorry. So, and one day, then we reached the point. It was some month ago when we had all our house clean, and all our records for all our hundreds of domains were perfectly. And we convinced everyone. All processes were perfect. The budget was clear. The domain admins and the CEO and also the ISO, ICT Internet Security Manager, all were on the same page, and also it was fine, and now we are finished. No, we are not. You will be never finished with this kind of project. It's an ongoing process, and you have to keep your house clean. If not, then you have to start over 3 months later, and then you will end up with the same mess again. It's like it's like an attic or something like this. If you don't clean it up and keep it clean, and if you start to put new things in it, like new domain registering or type of domains you're buying and registering, you will really end up in a mess if you don't keep constantly keeping your house clean and constantly monitoring all those processes, monitoring your records, monitoring your settings, and just monitoring all the technical stuff and also amending it. And even more than the technical part of monitoring and keeping your house clean is to share the knowledge. It's very important that the knowledge of this whole domain setup, the security, BIMI, DMARC stuff, that this knowledge is not only, let's say, put on 1, 2, 3, or 4 persons. So it's very important that in the whole company, this knowledge is spread so that you don't not get into the danger if one is sick or leaving the company. So So it has to be, let's say, find its place in the DNA of your company, that security is important, domain seeding is important, that you set up your processes and share the knowledges to new employees, even in, it doesn't matter if you're in the IT admin team or email marketing or in the security team. You need to share this, and you need to keep it constantly clean and also constantly share this knowledge about this project. And I know that a lot of people now want to know how the technical implementation was in detail, but that will be just a little teaser. That will be more the topic on Thursday this week. So in this next webinar, we will, Florian, Fierke, and myself will then more go into the technical details. So how we in detail amended the settings and so stuff. But that is just one part. The other part is just what I told you about, that you have to make this cross-functional teams. You have to take care of what the whole workload will be. And it's not just a click a button and we're finished topic. Well, one person, yeah.
That's me. So let's talk about the successes we celebrate. The first thing, and I think the most important thing, is that our cyber attacks are reduced. Before we've implemented BIMI and also DMARC, of course, we had about 30,000 phishing mails sometimes a day, which is a very high volume for us. Today we have about 10 to 50 in 1 month. So that's a very low volume, and we're very happy about that. What's the reason for that? If you have implemented DMARC, all the cyber criminals out there getting notifications, for example, if they use your domain and they are not authenticated for it. And so they can see you are a safe company. They see there's nothing to get for them, and they will put their effort into profitable ones in companies that are not safe as you. And it's always good to be not the first person on the attractivity list from cybercrime, because they're getting better and better. And if you are a safe company, they will not attack you at first. The second thing I want to mention is that our deliverability is flawless. We're landing in the inbox most of the time 100%. We have incredible open rates. Again, what's the reason for that? We have implemented DMARC, but we've also implemented BIMI. If there is an email provider which is supporting BIMI, you will automatically be in the inbox. Of course, it's not a free card to do stupid things. You have to be a good sender, you have to do your homework, you have to be good, and then you will have no problems with the junk mail folder. Unfortunately, today BIMI is just available for Yahoo, and we hope there will be a lot of email providers who will follow. But all the other email providers see that you are a safe sender, you're getting the focus on your email security, and they will appreciate that. So if you want a good reputation, have a look on your security settings, and you will have no problems. I think every email marketing manager out there will feel with me when I say spam is scaring. So we hate spam, we don't want spam, and we are happy if it's not there. So do your homework, be safe, and you won't have any problems. And the third thing is also for marketing people interesting. It's that you can create with BIMI more brand awareness. As you can see on the screenshots, you can see the brand logo in the inbox. It's of course very eye-catching, and we did a little study, and the results were that our customers see us as more trustworthy, as more safer, and they are more likely to open our newsletters and buy at the end. And that's what we want them to do, of course, buy our clothes. And yes, we are very happy with that. So altogether, you can see BIMI and also DMARC, of course, have just positive impacts on your attractivity for cybercrime, on your deliverability, and also on your brand awareness. The question is, what are you waiting for?
On our side, we are almost finished. So we are finished with our Witt Group brand, but the second or follow-up project will be to roll it out to Heine.de. Heine is a company which is now merging into the Witt Group. So it will be our next task to also roll out, make a BIMI rollout for them. So also including SPF, DMARC, DKIM, and the whole standard stuff. So we all at the Witt Group are completely on the same standards. So Heine can also profit from the things which just Romina mentioned. And it's very important that that we share the knowledge, within the company, share it with our different location now at the Heine office in Karlsruhe, and also share it or keep sharing it within the IT and also all the commercial teams, so that they know that's very important to keep this standard and keep to our house clean and do our homework and take care of this domain security and deliverability stuff. And the good thing is, and showing us that we are on the correct way, is that we now got asked from the Otto Group to create some Otto Group wide standards, so that the complete Otto Group will follow the same domain and deliverability standards. And we're in the process now of creating these standards, and this will lead to the complete Otto Group to be on the domain standards and security standards which we're longing for. And what we can recommend is that every one of you out there, it doesn't matter if you're an ESP, if you're an ISP, if you're a brand, or if you're a technician programming stuff, it's very important to take care of your domain stuff. And it's very important that you do so, because if you don't do it, BIMI will die and all the spammers will win this fight. And we have to do this fight together, and we have to kick their asses, to be true. And that's we can just make it if you all work together. So more ISPs should support BIMI and let's say hand it out as a little goodie for keeping your house clean. All the settings are up to date and so stuff. And I just can hope that there will be more following us, because it's not that big invest in time and not that big financial invest you have to do. It's all a little bit of house cleaning and doing your homework and putting the right persons on a disk to discuss with each other, and to finding a way to make this world a little bit safer. And I really hope that after this session, one or two of you will think, hey, maybe we should push this topic internally, and how can we push it technically, and we'll join on Thursday. But basically, if we don't manage to make ISPs, ESP, and even you join us, we will lose this fight versus the spammers. So let's kick their asses together. And what are you waiting for? Romina said it. Just go ahead and clean your stuff. So now we are finished with our presentation, and I would really love to hear your questions, or we would love to hear your questions and try to help you on your way to better security settings and, of course, better deliverability. So go ahead.
Hi, it's me again. So thank you, first of all. So far, we have two questions that go in the same direction. I will read them out loud now. How do you come to the conclusion that implementing BIMI gives you a better inbox placement? The next question was the same as I mentioned. Yeah.
Well, should I? Okay. So it's basically we had a study on this. We are using not only BIMI for inbox placement. We also use we also have countries where we have trusted dialogue and so stuff, and there were a lot of research and a lot of studies which were making A/B tests and stuff like this, and just checking, is it better open rates, is it better click rates and stuff, yes or no. And we also made when in the process when rolling out BIMI and trusted dialogue back times, we had some countries, like example, we have 2 brands in Austria and 2 brands in Switzerland. We made like a kind of A/B testing and said, hey, did the rates improve or not? And they did. They did, of course. And the client recognized it, and the client showed us that we are more trustworthy and that he knows what we are doing is good. And just make a little conclusion after all. So if we just look back at the last year in the countries where we have BIMI implemented, the number of deliverability issues is of course reduced. It's not because just of BIMI, it's because you have to do your homework beforehand. Because if you have properly set up SPF, DKIM, and DMARC, then that of course itself is an improvement in deliverability. BIMI is, like I said, the cherry on the cake. It's the bonus within, but we can confirm in the open rates and click rates, it will improve your deliverability and your open rates.
Okay. We got more questions. Will the BIMI logo always show when it properly implemented?
Yeah, so it will. It will, but currently we can just test it for Yahoo. We know it might be online also for our AOL, but we have almost non-subscribers with AOL. But with Yahoo, it works very good. And of course, in the starting phase, 1 year ago, we had to, let's say, amend some things like picture requirements and so on. So we had our learning curve, for example. But once it was all set up and all was fine, and of course your overall reputation is good, then it worked everything perfectly. But you have to keep an eye on it. That's very important. If you have a ruined overall reputation, BIMI won't help you. So of course you have to stick to the basic rules. Keep your list clean. List hygiene has to be an important topic. So if this is all done, you just have to put your logo live, and then it goes, and then it's live. So on our side, it was running really smoothly.
Okay, the next one. How do you see the effect of using BIMI certificates to sign and secure marketing campaign messages? Is there an impact on deliverability?
Could you please repeat the start of the question? It was a little bit.
How do you see the effect of using BIMI certificates to sign and secure marketing campaign messages?
I'm not quite sure what kind of certificates, but if you are as is TSL certificates or something like this, then I don't have any studies or something like this to compare it if it's improved or not. For us, it's a standard. It's set everywhere. It's not that big deal to implement it, and it's working. But to be honest, we never had the idea to turn it off and and check if something is going worse or something like this. So these certificate stuff it's a given thing. It's very just standard to have it on active.
Okay. Is it best to be an early adopter with this kind of new tech, as we expect other providers to follow?
That's a good question. Do you want to say?
I hope I understood it right. But if you implement BIMI now, and for example, I just said Gmail will follow, you won't have anything to do. Gmail will recognize BIMI automatically, and you can lean back and watch. So I think that's the answer.
Yeah, and the good thing is, just to add a little bit, is it's always a good thing to start to be the first to be more secure and to, let's say, be the first to clean up. Of course, you can say, hey, why should I be the first one to clean my house? But does it really care if others are not cleaning their house? No, it's not, because implementing BIMI is all about making your house clean. And of course, you should start it now. If you haven't done it, well, it's already a fault. So you should start now, because there is absolutely no advantage in doing nothing.
Okay, and the next one. What about DMARC policy, quarantine, and broken email forwarding? If we enable quarantine or reject policy, then all email forwarding for users will be broken.
Yes, so far we knew about this topic, and we needed to decide if we put it on quarantine or not, or if we have, let's say, the risk of forwarders being causing issues. But for us, it's not a problem at all. If we, let's say, for example, you have a volume of 20 million mails, we are talking about 3 or 4 forwarders. So that is a percentage which is really not a big deal for us. So if you put it on a side and calculate if it's an advantage or disadvantage to put it on a, let's say, stricter rule or not, for us the answer was clear. Go for quarantine, go for reject, and whoever is forwarding a newsletter, and that are just really a small share of our daily business, we have to live with it. That's it. And for us, it's not a big deal. We are really talking about a really small amount of persons. And the good thing is, and the really good thing is, with DMARC activated, you can monitor this. You can see how big this deal is. You can see, hey, do I have a brand or do I have a business model where there is a lot forwarding or not? If you are not having DMARC Live, you will never know. So even with this question, you need to have DMARC Live to just know what's going on with your domain and know what's going on with your emails. But for us personally, there was no question to say, hey, do we go the forwarders first way or not?
Okay, the next one, will the BIMI guideline criteria change for other providers? What do you think?
What do we think? I would say even if they do, that would be a pity, because I think the whole magic of this whole process, BIMI, was that there were a lot of providers working together, creating one standard, everybody sticking to it. And I think if they change, they should change it all together, that we as a brand, if we put it live or amend it, then we know that every other providers will follow the same rules and follow the same standards. So even if, let's say, for example, Gmail will join and Microsoft will join, that's fine for us. But if they make amendments, please do it all together. That will completely destroy the complete standard. If every postbox is sticking to their own standard, then we can kill it, and that will be the death of all this BIMI project. I hope, and I can just hope that somebody of all the ESPs now listening here talk to each other and just make amendments all together. Then it's no problem for us to amend something. If there's a new guideline or something like this, all fine. But please do not kill this standard by making 20 different needed configuration for 10 brands or something like this. So I can just hope it will be that way.
Okay. And the last one is, what has been the general feedback of implementing BIMI from the Josef Witt marketing team?
Yeah, what was the feedback from the marketing team?
A very good feedback. We solved a lot of problems and we made everything better. So why should they not be, yes.
Yeah, and you get also some feedback from the commercial side. Well, they say, hey, it's a free brand impression, and you don't have to pay for this brand impression. It's there. You just have to do your homework, and then the brand impression is there. And if you go to the general marketing guys and say, hey, do you want a free brand impression? You will never get a no. That's it. They are just happy that you get it. And I already think that the biggest fan of all this stuff is our internet security officer and the domain team, because they know now what's going on. They now have full control about what's happening, and like Romina mentioned before, the number of cyber attacks and the number of abusement with our domain has reduced dramatically, and that is really also great and good feedback that our brand is not abused. So the feedback was just great. It was better than the time when we wanted to start, but now that everyone sees that it's working, we just get positive feedback.
Okay, cool. We have 2 or 3 questions more. I will discuss them with Romina and Peter afterwards, and we'll send you, dear attendees, the answers. First of all, many thanks to Romina and Peter for today's webinar. We are very happy that you also were a virtual part of the CSA email summit. I'm very happy about that. And dear attendees, as you can see, our CSA Digital Email Summit is slowly coming to an end this year. Register for the last one, of course, with Peter again. It's on Thursday. Before we start another series in 2021. And after this webinar today, you will receive a feedback form. We would be very happy if you fill it out and give us feedback about the session today or the last one. And I wish you a nice evening now. And thank you again, Romina and Peter. And dear attendees, I hope we meet you again at the next webinar on Thursday. Bye.
Bye. All the thanks from our side, and just start now.
That's a good end. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.